Dear leaders, how do you respond when one of your key team members comes up with a challenge to you? When I asked this question in a group of leaders, most of them had either one of the two questions. One set of people said they try to give them advice, and another set of users said they try to give them some solutions. So, the way most of the leaders respond to the challenge given by his team member is either by giving advice or by giving solutions. Would you believe it's proven scientifically, more specifically neuroscientifically, that neither advice nor solution has any lasting impact? My dear friends, this is Vineet, a digital strategist and a career coach. Leadership guru David Rock, who is a PhD and he is an institute, he's a director of the Neuro Leadership Institute and has vast knowledge in neuroscience as well as on the leadership. And he says that giving advice does not work not only in the long run, but doesn't even work in the short run. And there are neuroscientific reasons for it, friends. Let's look out for some of the reasons. The first reason is we almost advise on the wrong thing, on the wrong problem. We almost advise always on the wrong problem without even understanding the problem. Most of the time we start advising. The second point, the brain rejects new things most of the time. And since brain rejects new things most of the times, our advice goes completely unneeded. And most of the time, nothing happens. Everyone's brain is, the point three is that everyone's brain is wired differently. And that's where you all have individual experiences, the world of personalization. Everyone's brain is wired differently. So the advice we give is very likely wrong as per the neuroscience. And last but not the least, even if our advice is heeded in the short term, there is rarely a lasting change, my friends. In the last talk, if you remember, I talked about why no employee wants to be managed. Employee may want to become manager, but there are very few employees who really want to be managed. They just want to be unleashed, not managed. And some of you reverted me saying, yeah, I agree. But then how do I improve my team's performance? Valid question, isn't it? If I'm not giving any advice, I'm not giving any solution, how do I improve the team's performance? And I really liked the solution provided by this amazing leadership neuroscience guru, David Rock, in his book, Quiet Leadership. He has some amazing ideas around this. Rock suggests that rather than getting into the details of the problem, rather than trying to ask questions around the problem, hey, what happened, with whom it happened, when it happened, it doesn't work. We should rather focus our questions on their thinking. Let's take an example. I know it's not straightforward, so let's take an example. Let's say we have a colleague who comes to you and says, I would like to be less stressed at work, but it just seems to get busier every week. One of the standard ways you can ask for the details. Hey, what makes you stressful? What are the tasks that you're working on? How busy is it? Can I help in that task? And so on. But trust me, this is just about getting into the problem, and we will only drag the problem further. Alternatively, how about asking how long you have been thinking about this? How happy are you with the approach that you have taken so far? Can you see the key gaps in your thinking? Do you have a plan for shifting the issue? How can I best help you further? So instead of dwelling on the problem, we have moved the focus to the person, from the problem to the person. Amazing idea, isn't it? What happens with this? This actually helps people become more self aware by turning their attention to the thought process that got them to where they are now. Because most likely, the cause of the problem is in the mind. They are not looking for solution from you. They already know the solutions most of the times. So when you take this approach, it encourages people to take more responsibility for solving their problems. And the moment they take the responsibility, this in turn increases their capability and confidence and demonstrates that, and it also demonstrates that we trust them. So there are so many ideas, many more ideas that David Rock gives in this book that can actually help your team to think better, your team to improve their performance. But I'll just talk about two things. The first thing is let them do all the thinking. Don't have the baggage on yourself about thinking and focus on the solutions, not the problems. Let's talk about the first thing that is, let them do all the thinking. It's time we think about thinking, folks. We are used to thinking for others, particularly as a leader, as a mentor, and sometimes even as a coach. We are used to thinking for others. Neuroscience has proved this again and again that that doesn't work at all. Instead, let people in your team do all the thinking, which is called self-directed learning. Let them do the thinking. Give them an environment where they can actually do this thinking. I know it's when I had read this first time, even I was a bit confused. But people need to think things through themselves before they can, take any committed action. You can see the difference when the ideas come from their mind, when the solutions comes from their mind, they are more committed to do it. And this also helps leaders stay out of the details. He doesn't have to go into the problem and then, focus on the problem. Rather, he just focuses on the person, not the issue on the table. Coach Guru John Whitmore says, to tell denies or negates another intelligence. To ask honors it. So don't tell. You're just negating another's intelligence. He might come up with a better solution. So just ask him, and trust me, he will feel honored and he may come up with a better solution. The second thing was, so this was about think about thinking. And the second part is being solution oriented. Many times we focus too much on the problem, but being solution oriented means focusing on the way ahead. Looking into the problem reinforces the brain circuits associated with the problem. Focusing on problem leads to blame, excuses, justifications. On the other hand, focusing on solutions create new energy in our minds, creates new mental maps. It is about asking, what shall we do about this? Instead of, why did this happen? I remember John Whitmore says, people are not looking for your feedbacks, but they may look for your feed forward. Don't give them feedback, give them feed forward. Don't talk about the problems, talk about the solutions. So in the past, even I have been there. Leaders have been expected to lead from the front, coming up with the ideas, giving clear direction to their people. Perhaps in the days when most jobs were very technical or process driven, this worked. These days, however, people are in roles where they are paid to think. These days, clearly, people are hired to think. So, improving thinking is one of the fastest way to improve performance. Don't focus on the problems, focus on the person. Focus on the thinking of the person. Don't ask them how to do the work. Rather, ask questions so that you can understand their thinking. So, all my leaders, and everyone is a leader. It's not only the corporate leaders. Even a housewife taking care of her kids, she's also a leader. And kids are way smart these days. So, leaders, if you are looking for long lasting performance improvement amongst your team, stop giving advice and solutions. Rather, wear a hat of coach and ask questions. Ask questions that help your team improve their thinking. And don't talk about problems, talk about solutions. There are so many things that I can talk about, but these two things I really wanted to stress, underline in this short video was, if you want to improve your team's performance, is first you start thinking about their thinking, right? And let them do all the thinking. You don't do the thinking. And the second is focus on solutions. Don't focus on problems. What do you think about this, guys? How will you react if your manager, if your leader starts treating like this to you, instead of giving you, trying to understand the problem and giving you, ideas and advices and solution? If he starts asking you right questions, if he allows you to do the thinking, if he allows you to give the solution, how would you react? Would that make relationship better with your boss, better with your manager, better with your parents, better with your spouse, better with your kids? I really think that this has impacted me, and I'm sure it can impact you. If you have any questions, do post your comment. You can write to me. I'll try to reply to your questions. With that, thank you so much. See you. Bye.